Hello, everybody. I'm out in the woods today. This is a great place to go if you're kind of feeling stuck in your house. And it's a place where you can run around, you can yell at the top of your lungs, and nobody can hear you. And I'm going to show you a few things that you can do out in the woods if you're going to spend all day out here. And maybe you can learn a few things. So, see you soon. So the first thing we're going to do today is we are going to practice building a shelter. There's my dog. His name is Boy. So I have a cut log here, or a cut tree, I should say. That's the stump. And the other part is over here. So I took a smaller fallen tree and I joined the two together. Next, I will take some sticks and place them on either side of the start of my tent, I should say. But this is a survival shelter, and all of you guys can work on these skills when you go out in the woods. Now we've gathered up branches on both sides, and you want branches with, or you want sticks with smaller branches on them. And you can see how there's starting to be an open spot in the middle, and there's branches on both sides. So now we can start layering it and creating more of a sheltered look. So here's the progress on our fort. Here's one side of it. So we chose branches that had smaller branches coming off of it, so that would create some sort of a webbing, and then you start putting other sticks on top of it. And this fort was created just pulling off of the ground. So if you were in like a survival situation, you might have to cut branches off of trees, but there's the inside part where you could create a little spot for your sleeping bag. But you would just keep layering and layering and layering until you have a nice solid roof that would keep you a little bit warmer at night. Wait, I forgot something. There's a couple of other things to remember when you're out in the woods. One is you need to make sure you have your supplies. So you always need to bring water, some snacks, in case you end up being out longer than you thought you were going to be. And then you always want to make sure you have a fire starter, again, in case you're out longer than you thought you were going to be. And you always want to tell somebody where you are going, because if you go out, even with your parents, and you end up going out longer than you thought you were going to go out, and maybe your car breaks down or something happens where you're not getting home in the time that you thought you were going to, there's at least one or two people that know where you went and they can come help you. I think that's about it for now. I'm still having fun out in the woods, enjoying this open space, and it's very freeing. So I hope you guys get out here sometime too. Okay, so when you're out in the woods, one of the big things that a lot of backpackers and outdoors people live by is the leave no trace rule. And that means that when you are out in the woods, you take out all of your garbage. If you do create a shelter, you take it down. When you create a fire and you're done with it, you disperse the rocks and you get rid of any trace that you were there. So a backpacking fire is very small. It's not like a campfire. And as children, you should not be making a fire by yourself. You should always have your parents there. And it is an important tool to learn, though, because you might need it someday. So when you're out in the woods, you should always have a fire starter with you. A lot of major outdoors people will have tools that you can strike and it will create a spark, and that will start your fire. If you don't have one of those, the next best thing to have is matches or a lighter. And I'm not like an extreme outdoors person, so what I pack with me is I always bring a lighter with me. And I usually have it in a little bag so it stays dry. So as I was foraging around to make the fort, I found some newspaper out in the woods. This was somebody that was not leaving no trace, right? They left a trace, but in this case it's good because I can use it to start my fire. So what a fire needs to grow is it needs air and it needs fuel, and that paper is part of the fuel. Then you take little tiny sticks and you start to layer it over the piece of paper that I put in there. Other things you can use is toilet paper, cotton balls. A lot of times pine needles work really well. So I'm going to layer this. And when you're done with a fire, you need to make sure it's out. You make sure it's out by putting some water on it and totally drowning it out. And then you can take a stick and stir it in there. And you can also put some more dirt and mix it. But you have to be very careful when you are building a fire. So there's my little teepee. And then I'm going to take my lighter and I'm going to light it in a few different spots, just like this. There we go. And then I'm going to slowly add a couple more sticks. And this is seriously as big as your fire should be when you're backpacking. The fire is to help you stay warm, and you don't need to add a lot of fuel. A cute little baby fire is nice when you're backpacking. Now, some kids could probably help their parents with this, but you never, ever, ever start a fire by yourself. Thank you so much. I hope some of you are able to get outside and do some backpacking, do some, some rummaging around in the woods. And I hope some of you get the opportunity to practice making your own little fort out in the woods with nature as your tool. Bye.